Hi everyone, back again. What I'm going to do here is go ahead and do a 3-hole pamphlet stitch on the little booklet that is on the left side, the one I'm playing with right now. This one is quite a lot thicker than the other one, but it's just the way that I want to have this laid out. So that's why I'm going to go ahead and do a 3-hole pamphlet stitch versus trying to sew all of these pages in. And the smaller signature is the one that I'm going to sew directly into the spine. So I'm just lining all of my pages up together with the file folder. And I'm not going to measure anything. I'm just going to eyeball this part because it's not that serious, you guys. I'm going to eyeball it, go punch this hole right in the center of it. And be mindful when you're punching like this not to stab your fingers because these are quite sharp instruments. So I've eyeballed everything. I've got 3 holes. I've got the one in the middle and the 2 on the opposite side. So I'm taking my needle. I'm going to go through that center hole, go out that side, and I'm going to go in the hole down at the bottom. So I just want a little bit overhang. And I'm not going to use paper clips here, you guys, because it's not that serious with this part right here. Everything is lined up well, so it goes through all of the pages at this point nicely. And I'm going to go from the bottom after I get the string off of that part. And I'm going to go straight to the top hole. I'm going to go out the top hole. And I'm going to go back through that center hole as I'm doing right now. And I'll pull this string out of the way so I can see my hole better to go through. You do not want your string to go through, the needle to go through that string because you're going to have issues with keeping it sewn in tightly. So when you do that, that needle needs to be sandwiched. I'm going to show you in a minute. It needs to be sandwiched in between the opposite string and the one that you're pulling through with your needle. That's what I've just shown you. That long string right there that's already tied into the signature. You have to have that sandwiched in between the 2 opposite ends of your thread. So when you do that, you need to pull in the opposite direction as I just showed you. When you came out with your needle, when you came through that last hole and went back through the center of that, you need to pull that in the opposite direction. And so I've just tightened them. I've done a triple knot. I've tied that 3 times, and I'm going to cut my strings off because I went from the inside. I have those extra strings, and I'm telling you that I will probably I wish I had some kind of like a piano punch, or what I'm going to do is take one of my little circle punches and punch out one of those notes and add it to those strings. So we're going to move on to just crafting now. I'm just going to go ahead and finish decorating these pages. That is all that I'm going to do. So if I can find some music that I can play that will not be too disruptive, I will do that so that I'm not talking throughout this whole video, you guys. So I've been lining the pages with this permanent marker, and so it's just a simple fix for the back of this second file folder. I'm just going to go ahead and glue everything down. And I'm gluing really fast, aren't I? I cut those clips out, you guys. So I'm just trying to figure out what I'm going to do with this third signature that we're working with. And I'm showing you the second one because I think that in the last video, it was showing a blank screen when I was doing that. And I was explaining just now that I set that one up, the closure on the front piece that way, because I'm wrapping it now. That's the closure piece, so that my journal de Paris, journal de Paris, or however you would say that, would not be obstructed. So I opted to leave some things in here. There are a couple of mistakes that were made, and I opted to leave that in because, like I said, it's important to show mistakes so that everyone can know that we all make mistakes. It's just life. No one is perfect. And so that's why I choose to show when I'm making a mistake or not. I could just cut these areas out and then you guys would not know the difference, but it's just not realistic. I'm taking some Velcro because that's how I've closed the closure piece for the signatures. So apparently I don't like the contrast with those two, so I've added this one in. And it's okay to use different colors, working with different things, but it should still flow to me. It should have still have some kind of unity or just, I don't want to go from one extreme to the other unless that's, it can work. It just depends on what you're going for. That's not what I was going for at this point. So I'm just folding this piece of file folder in half, and I'm going to use my Flourish Martha Stewart punch. And it's cutting, you guys, I've realized it's cutting the file folder really well. I had no issues with it cutting the file folder. It gives me a problem when I'm cutting the parchment paper from that the digital kits are printed on, and when I'm cutting the coffee dot paper. That's when it's giving me a problem. And I wanted some kind of contrast just to define each area. And so that's why I've stuck that there. Now, back in the day, what I would have done was take my distress ink and distress that file folder piece. But it's a new time, it's a new age, you guys. It's time to try something different. And so, yeah, I'm trying lots of different things and just, doing different stuff. Doing the same things that, others have done before is not always the way to go. You've got to branch out. Don't be afraid to try different stuff that you haven't tried before. I didn't like that piece there when I cut that out on the edges. I didn't like the way that it was lined up. It was off. So I'm cutting a new piece and we're going to try that again. think my watch just told me it was time to stand up. So I think I finish up and then I'll get up and move around. And I'm doing these before work, so I'm checking my time as well, you guys. So I've just got a bunch of videos that I have meshed together, and so that I can, still work on these a little bit at a time and get them out to you, or get it out to you. So this was close to 3 hours of footage that I have played around with and taken things out, and I've got it down to like 35 minutes now. So hopefully I haven't missed any of the most important parts. And I'm just cutting, I'm fussy cutting around this image. And you can always remember to do that, you guys. If you're working with limited, I don't know how to say that, limited ephemera, you can always make ephemera out of the kit that you're working with. And this piece here gave me quite an issue, and so I'm just tearing that off, you guys. It wasn't closing, and I didn't figure out why until later. It's not closing because those pesky, thick, the pages that I've done the 3-hole pamphlet stitch, the other signatures did not have that, and so that's why they closed. Well, that one is causing issues with this closure piece here. And so I didn't figure that out till later. So I just snatch it all off, try to figure it out and keep working with it. And I thought we'll see. I left it alone that day, you guys, and this is another day. I said, to heck with this, you just keep it moving. Don't sit and stress over stuff too much. Just get away from it and, do something else. So I'm working on the closure piece for the front piece of this signature. That's a pocket there on the side. I wanted that to have a little tuck something in there. I don't know what I was doing. So I'm getting ready to punch a hole. And that's that leftover string I was telling you guys about. I think it's leftover string that I used and I didn't tell you about because I recorded over that part. But yeah, so I use extra string. I will tie when I'm doing the 3-hole pamphlet stitch, I measure the length of my signature 3 times, and then I go a half and sometimes extra. And so I tend to have extra string. Do not throw that away because, as you see here, you can use that. So as to just try and be less wasteful as possible. What I am also entertaining you guys is we have a lot of leftover paper, and I would like to one day make my own paper. I've been looking into that, and you can just use all those leftover scraps to make your own paper. Now, how cool would that be? And these little pieces I'm trying to work with. Oh my goodness. You guys, I tell you, I do not like working with these little bitty things. It's just cumbersome for me. I didn't like that look apparently, so I've done something else. Apparently I'm still trying this right here. Why, you guys, I have no freaking earthly idea. Yeah, I do not like that at all. Let's figure something else out here. I don't like that. Nope. Come on, Clemmy. Thank you. Let's do something different. I had cut the butterfly out to try and add it to that um, hinge piece I made with the sculpting tool, whatever that is, that you use your modeling paste with to spread the paste. I was going to use that butterfly, but it was not symmetrical, so it looked off. So I didn't use that. So as I put them all together and I'm looking at them, something looks very off, you guys. Something looks weird here. Something's not right. See? Trying to figure out what's off, and I figure it out. I didn't add the lace and the piece I'd cut out. So you know what? I remove all of this. Yep, it's gotta go. I could have left it like that, you guys, but I was not okay with it. And if I was not okay with it, it's my creation. I didn't want to keep it there. It had to go. So this was another later on. I hadn't even cut it. I can't even remember. Okay, so I'm just cutting the piece to coordinate with the other signatures with the lace, the file folder behind those little flip outs. So if you guys have noticed, this is very basic embellishing. It's not, very minimal supplies. The digital kit, a few pieces of lace, and these little journals, I am really happy with the way that they turned out. And you can do something nice, you guys, without, you know, well, for one, spending a lot of money. And for two, without just, going all out with all the embellishments. This is just very simple stuff, very basic. Now I'm cutting off where the music paper tore with those pieces. And I use that awl or this punching tool to mark where I need to place the these two pieces here on the front cover. And so when I stick that awl through that paper, through that same hole, and then I put this piece onto that in the same hole, it'll be in the same placement as it was before I snatched it off of that cover, just like so. I'm just doing the same thing at the top, using that awl to keep the same hole. And I forgot you guys freaking again. so uh, so I had to listen to the music. I've got some music playing, and just my hands right there were moving to just relax, and you guys just have fun. It was quite entertaining, actually. So we're going to do the steps all over again. Line those holes, the holes back up. And I checked to make sure that it was not, you could not easily tell where the music paper part was tore off, because everything was lined up exactly so it fit right over those areas. I had the little brad, and we can close our closure piece now. Now, there we are. Now the three look cohesive. They look as they should. So when I first started out with these, I was like, oh, I'm going to have lots of space in between these signatures, you guys. And so when I went to put them in, I really did not have a lot of space. It's kind of tight in there, but everything is okay. We're still all good. And so I guess I cut that piece out. What I had to do to that hinge right there, and I'm explaining it right now, I had to actually put space in between that hinge. As I don't like how to explain that. I had to leave room, a gap in between that, so that it would actually close. Like the letter C, if you squared it out, that's how I had to make that look. I had to leave a gap there so that that closure piece would go well. And so, you guys, I was just looking at some of her other digital kits that I have printed off, and these pages are quite lovely, aren't they? Just showing off. I pulled that piece out, but I don't think I work with that. I'm just cutting a few of these out to place in some of the pockets. Trying to figure out what I'm going to do with this little piece. And we're just going to add it right here. I guess that's what I decided. I don't like the way that that's tucking. So for now, we're going to just use this um, file folder, and I'll probably go back in later and cover that. Or I may leave it blank. And I'm just going to use this as a flip, just to flip up. I'm using one of the corner punches, and I used those two in conjunction to get that difference there. Or those two sides. It's the deco one. We are memory keepers. So I'll pull this out, surprisingly. I guess I felt that it needed that. And then I outline with the marker. I'm cutting out one of the words, and I'm going to use that as a tuck spot. Now I'm sure that I'm going to go back in later and add some more pieces to some of the areas I think are a little too plain. But I have to keep in mind just probably flat embellishing, because we're already at max capacity with this journal. We're finishing up here. I'm getting ready to add just some plain pockets out of these little note tags. I saw that that piece was the right width, so now I can cut my tag to the same. Round in the corner so that it slides in nice and smoothly. I thought we were finished. I guess I'll go ahead and cover this flap right here. And it's this darn coffee dot paper, you guys. So the little pieces that it didn't cut, I've just taken these small scissors here and I'm cleaning those pieces up. That's all that I was doing. And I'm refilling my glue up. And I'm getting to the end of this, you guys. So thanks for tuning in. We're almost finished with this project. The next video, we will tie the signatures in and some more little extras. You guys have a lovely night, a lovely evening or morning, wherever you are.